Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because today we are diving into an absolutely explosive story that is sending shockwaves through Wall Street and Washington. A major Republican mega donor just publicly accused the Trump White House of enriching itself and its family members. And we're not talking about just any donor. This is Ken Griffin, one of the most successful hedge fund managers in history, worth over $50 billion. And when someone like this speaks out, people listen. So let's break down exactly what happened and why this matters. Before we get into the controversy, let's talk about who Ken Griffin actually is, because his background makes this story even more significant. Kenneth Cordelay Griffin was born in Daytona Beach, Florida in 1968. Now here's where his story gets interesting. Griffin started trading stocks from his Harvard dorm room in 1987. Yeah, you heard that right. While most college students were worrying about midterms, this 19-year-old was installing a satellite dish on the roof of his dormitory to get real-time stock quotes. Griffin raised his initial capital of $265,000 from his grandmother and high school friend. By the time he graduated from Harvard in 1989, get this, after just 3 years, his fund had already grown to approximately $1 million. In 1990, at just 22 years old, Griffin founded Citadel LLC with $4.6 million. Today, Citadel manages over $69 billion in assets, making it one of the largest and most successful hedge funds in history. The firm has generated over $83 billion in net gains for investors since its inception. That's absolutely mind-blowing. Griffin's net worth is currently estimated at around $51 billion, making him the 34th richest person in the world. He's also a major art collector, philanthropist, and has donated over $2 billion to various charitable causes. Now, here's what's crucial for this story. Griffin has been a longtime Republican donor. He's contributed hundreds of millions of dollars to conservative political candidates and causes over the years. However, and this is important, he did not donate to Trump's 2024 re-election campaign. That decision is looking pretty prescient right about now. So what exactly did Griffin say that has everyone talking? This past Tuesday, Griffin was speaking at a conference in Florida hosted by the Wall Street Journal. During the event, he dropped what can only be described as a political bombshell. And remember, this is extremely rare for someone on Wall Street, where most executives have been walking on eggshells around Trump, terrified of falling out of favor. Here's what Griffin said, and I'm quoting directly. This administration has definitely made missteps in choosing decisions or courses that have been very, very enriching to the families of those in the administration. That calls into question, is the public interest being served? Let that sink in for a moment. One of the biggest Republican donors in America just publicly questioned whether the Trump administration is serving the public interest or enriching itself. But Griffin didn't stop there. He continued. One of the things that you want to believe is that those who serve the public interest have the public interest at heart in everything they do. The hedge fund titan went even further, addressing the broader issue of government favoritism toward corporations. He said, when the U.S. government starts to engage in corporate America in a way that tastes of favoritism, I know for most CEOs that I'm friends with, they find it incredibly distasteful. And here's perhaps the most poignant comment. Most CEOs just don't want to find themselves in the business of having to, in some sense, suck up to one administration after another to succeed in running their businesses. Wow, that's about as direct as it gets in the polite world of high finance. Griffin is essentially saying that business leaders are being forced to kiss the ring to succeed, and he's not here for it. So what exactly is Griffin referring to? What triggered these incredibly rare public criticisms? Griffin's comments come against a backdrop of several highly questionable financial arrangements involving the Trump family and administration. Let's break down the biggest ones. First, there's the UAE crypto deal. Reporting revealed that the United Arab Emirates royal family made a $500 million investment in Trump's cryptocurrency firm, World Liberty Financial, shortly before Trump's inauguration. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Just months later, the UAE received government approval to import 500,000 NVIDIA AI chips. Is that a coincidence? You decide. But it certainly looks like the kind of quid pro quo arrangement that would raise eyebrows in any administration. According to Bloomberg's Billionaires Index, the Trump family's net worth now stands at approximately $6.8 billion. And get this, over the past year, crypto investments and related projects alone boosted the family's wealth by approximately $1.4 billion. That's billion with a B. As of January 2025, Trump owned a social media firm, a cryptocurrency platform, and even a meme coin bearing his name. Companies backed by the Trump family have also secured contracts from government agencies and have benefited enormously from the administration's easing of policies on crypto and prediction markets. This is exactly what Griffin is talking about when he says the administration has made decisions that have been very, very enriching to families in the administration. Reports also indicate that Trump's oldest sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, have been particularly proactive figures since their father returned to the White House, actively involved in various business ventures that could create conflicts of interest. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, because Griffin's comments are part of a larger pattern. During Trump's second term, most executives on Wall Street have largely opted to stay silent, fearing that their firms could fall victim to the Oval Office's wrath since his return to power. Trump has made absolutely no secret about his interest in political retribution. He's openly talked about seeking revenge on various enemies through the power of his office. So the fact that Griffin is willing to speak out publicly is incredibly significant. This isn't some random critic. This is one of the most successful financial minds in America. Someone who's been a major Republican donor for decades, Griffin's claims represent the first time he has specifically referenced the Trump family's enrichment, despite being an outspoken critic of the president in other areas previously. What makes this even more interesting is that Griffin wasn't entirely negative at the conference. He actually praised some of Trump's decisions. For example, he said Trump's pick for Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, was a prudent choice who would allow the central bank to maintain its independence. He also voiced support for Trump's policy on the U.S.-Mexico border. This is important because it shows Griffin isn't just a blanket critic. He's being specific about what troubles him, the apparent self-enrichment and the climate of favoritism that's forcing CEOs to play political games to succeed. Of course, the White House wasn't going to let these comments go unanswered. White House spokesman Kush Desai responded to Griffin's criticism with this statement: "The only special interest guiding the Trump administration's decision-making is the best interest of the American people." The statement also pointed to what the administration considers its successes: a historic stock market rally, wage growth, and cooling inflation. But here's the thing. Griffin isn't denying that some economic indicators look good. What he's questioning is whether government decisions are being made based on what's best for America or what's best for the Trump family's bank accounts. Those are two very different things. So why should you care about some billionaire criticizing another billionaire? Let me tell you why this actually matters for everyday Americans. First, it's about the principle of public service. When people enter government, the expectation is that they'll set aside personal financial interests to serve the public good. If government officials are making policy decisions that directly enrich their own families, that's corruption, plain and simple. Second, this affects everyone. When government policy is influenced by who can pay to play or which companies suck up to the administration, it distorts the free market. It means innovation and merit take a back seat to political connections. Third, this speaks to the broader issue of transparency and accountability. If major Republican donors like Griffin are raising these concerns publicly, what does that tell you about what they're saying privately? Griffin's comments also highlight a dangerous trend: the increasing fear among business leaders about speaking truth to power, when most CEOs are too scared to criticize an administration because they fear political retribution. And that's not how democracy is supposed to work. Let's also talk about the pattern here. This isn't just about one crypto deal or one business arrangement. According to various reports, billionaires collectively saw their wealth reach a record high of $8.2 trillion in the new first year of Trump's second term. That's an increase of 22% in a single year. Meanwhile, Trump and Republicans in Congress have been cutting programs like Medicaid and federal nutrition assistance. They've also refused to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies that lapsed at the end of 2025, sending health insurance premiums skyrocketing for millions of people nationwide. So while the wealthiest Americans are getting exponentially richer, working families are struggling with higher healthcare costs and reduced safety net programs. That's the context in which Griffin's comments land. Look, whether you love Trump or hate him, whether you're Republican or Democrat, the question Ken Griffin is raising is one we should all care about. Are our government officials making decisions based on what's best for America or what's best for their own families' financial interests? When a $50 billion Republican megadonor who has supported conservative causes for decades feels compelled to publicly question whether the public interest is being served, that should make all of us pay attention. The fact that most other business leaders are too afraid to speak up only makes Griffin's comments more important. In a healthy democracy, we need people willing to call out potential corruption, regardless of political affiliation. So what do you think? Is Griffin right to call this out? Are we seeing unprecedented levels of self-enrichment in government, or is this just business as usual in Washington? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends who need to know about this story, and subscribe to the channel for more political and financial analysis. Thanks for watching. and I will see you in the next video.